All right.
Hello, everybody. Geez, we keep playing these scrappy, hard-nosed teams, man. Southeastern Louisiana, I knew it was going to be a dogfight tonight, and they gave us everything we could handle. They had won 8 in a row, swept really good teams like Troy and Sam Houston State. Hey, they went out to Arizona and played Arizona really tough. I knew we had our hands full tonight, and we got off to a good start with the home run by Travinsky in the early, was that in the first inning? I think it was in the first inning. We got a big 2-out RBI hit from Mitchell Sanford, and then the 3-run homer. But they battled right back. I mean, they got a good ball club, and Will Helmers, was challenging them, and they got to him that one inning, and yet he still gave us 4 innings. I hooked him after 4 innings because I wanted to have him available for this weekend. And I think he ended up with right at 50 pitches, if I'm not mistaken, which will allow him to bounce back and give us something this weekend. And then, McHale struggled with his command. That was the big issue with him, hitting the first batter and then having a walk in there, and it led to the 3 runs. But we responded. Travinsky had another big swing and got us a couple more runs. I think he must have had 5 RBIs in the game. Would have been nice to get him a couple more at bats, but it was his first time catching, and he's been nursing a throwing arm issue, and I just didn't want to push it with him too much. So we got him out of the game. I was hoping, to have him catch 5 innings, and he ended up catching 4, but he batted in the bottom of the 4th inning, so it was the right time to get him out of there. But they kept coming back. But then I thought our bullpen was terrific in the in the late innings there with Ty Floyd came in and got the leadoff hitter to finish off the 6th inning, and then gave us the 7th inning. He pitched around I think was that the inning that started off with the error with K. Doty, I think. Thank you, Bill. And he was able to get a big strike out there with runners on second and third, and then with 2 outs got the last guy. So I thought Floyd was really outstanding, and then Fontenot probably gave us the best inning of the year, and then Garrett Edwards was really outstanding also. So the last 3 and the 3rd innings were really, really good from our bullpen, and allowed us to hold on because we stopped doing anything offensively the last portion of the ball game. And you like to think 10 runs is enough to win a game, but the way it's been going lately, you're never sure about that. So. Hey, I'm glad we got the win. Now it's time to get ready for the Southeastern Conference, which is what you come to LSU for.
Coach,
David,
just what have you seen?
Go ahead, Taylor.
Who's first?
Yeah, just what have you seen out of Hayden Travinsky that kind of proved to you that he was ready to start catching rather than just hitting?
Yeah, well, I listened to the trainer and the doctors. He's been nursing an arm issue, and we had to, he's been on a throwing rehab program for a couple of months now, and they finally gave me the green light, I believe yesterday, that he would be able to catch. And we monitored how many throws he actually made today. He didn't even take pregame infield, outfield. And in between innings, I don't know if you noticed, but he was just lobbing the ball down to second base. So he saved any bullets that he had during the game. He made one nice throw and threw a guy out stealing. He made a little bit high throw on another one. He tried to throw from his knees, which was probably ill-advised, but it was a little bit high throw. But outside of that, I thought he caught very well. And Will Helmers is not all that difficult to catch because he's such a command pitcher. But I thought Hayden, for his first time catching, did a nice job. But obviously his bat was the big thing tonight, giving us 5 RBIs with the 3-run homer and the 2-run double off the center field wall.
And then a follow-up, if I can. It looked like when you pulled him in the 5th inning from up here, it looked like he was, you two were talking, he was kind of like making his case to stay in the game. It looked like, what was that conversation like?
No, I was kind of, critiquing his base running tonight. It left a little bit to be desired, quite frankly. I think when he was in high school, they used to put in a pinch runner for him all the time. And, he doesn't have a lot of experience of running bases, and it kind of showed tonight. It was not a clinic on base running, if you know what I'm saying. So we gotta work with him and get him a little bit better at that. Because he's got a chance to be on the bases quite a bit, you know, the way he swings the bat. So we just got to figure out ways to get him his at bats. He's been a tremendous pinch hitter for us, but you know, he's such a force that we got to figure out a way to get him more at bats. I think he can really impact the game in a big way.
Coach, not just the true freshmen, but the sophomores and all that kind of stuff. Now it gets real. It's their first SEC games. It's your first SEC games that you've coached in 2 years now. You know, is it just more of a they've got to just experience it, or can you tell them what it's going to be like? What's going to be the approach heading into Friday?
Well, you have to treat it just like you treat every other game, David, you know, and that's why we try to put a lot of pressure on them in practice. We put pressure on them in these midweek games and the non-conference weekends. We try to treat them all the same so that when you play in Mississippi State or Tennessee or Vanderbilt or whoever, you just, you know, it's baseball. You know, you can't try harder because all of a sudden it's in the SEC. Otherwise you get tense and you don't do things naturally. And, you know, now obviously the talent level is a little bit better. You know, the pitchers throw a little bit harder. You know, everything's a little bit, you know, at a higher level, but, you know, you adjust. I mean, you all you can do is play the best you can against the people that you're playing against. And we haven't played against any, you know, Humpty Dumps. I mean, you know, those kids that we faced tonight were all throwing 90 miles an hour or so. And, you know, some of them touch 92, 93 miles an hour. I mean, it's not like they're throwing underhanded. You know, we faced Texas San Antonio's pitchers and they threw good. Oral Roberts. You know, the midweek games that we've played for the most part, you know, have had good arms. I mean, there's been a couple teams that didn't, but for the most part we have. And I think we're ready. I think we're ready for it. And as ready as Mississippi State is, I'm certain of that. So it'll be exciting. You know, I know the fans are chomping at the bit to see an SEC game as much as I'm chomping at the bit to coach in one, and the players are chomping at the bit to play in them. So it should be fun.
Following up on that, the recent announcement of the box gets to be expanded to at least 50%. How much excitement does that just even put into it for the conference opener? Bigger crowd, more, you know, boisterous crowd.
Yeah, I was just looking on the box score to see what the crowd was tonight, 3,900. So I don't know how many tickets are going to sell for the weekend games. Bill, do you have any idea how many tickets they'll sell for the weekend? Do you know what the capacity? Around 5,000. So it'll be a little bit more than it was tonight, but it'd be nice if it was packed. You know, I'm sure it would have been if we would be allowed to. I know the temperatures are going to change a little bit this weekend too. The front's coming through tomorrow, and then the temperatures are going to drop, and we're going to get that wonderful north wind blowing in again. You know, it's going to hurt the old home run numbers again, I'm afraid. But you know, I don't think it'll scare away our fans. You know, they'll bundle up and they'll be there. But it'll be exciting. You know, again, David, you know, you can't hide the fact that it's a SEC games. I mean, no matter how much I play it down, it you know, that's why you come to LSU. You come here to play against the best teams in the country, not named LSU, and against the best players in the country that didn't come to LSU. So you challenge yourself against the best, and that's why you come to this university and play in this baseball program. But at the same time, you have to keep it in perspective. You know, it's baseball, and you got to do the things that you've been doing all year, and that's the way you have to do it. If you try to do it, try to be better than you've been, then you put too much pressure on yourself. It doesn't come natural.
Paul, when you tweak the lineup just a little bit pregame and put Mitchell fifth and Hayden sixth, were you kind of envisioning those situations in the first and in the fourth inning when they were going to come up in some pretty big spots?
You know, I love Mitchell Sanford. You know, I mean, he didn't do anything to get himself out of the lineup when I inserted Brody Drost in there. And I told him that. You know, he started 3 games, and I thought he gave us great at-bats. And, you know, any lesser of a person would have got discouraged because some freshman kid got put in there and, you know, played several games in a row. And then, you know, Brody started struggling a little bit. You know, the book got out on him a little bit, and they started changing speeds on him. And I just thought, it was time to put Mitchell back in there. And Mitchell actually hits left-handed pitchers very well. And they started a lefty today, and we'll be facing a lefty on Friday. And so I was looking ahead a little bit, to the Friday night against Mississippi State, and I thought Mitchell would be the best matchup against their Friday night starter. So I wanted to make sure that I got him some playing time in these last couple of games. And he goes up there and he's a gamer. He started that big rally the other day against UTSA with a base hit, whatever inning that was. I can't even remember when he started that rally, but he's a great kid. He competes so hard, and I thought that he would give us a good at bat, and that 2-out RBI hit really got us going. And then of course Travinsky, Travinsky has had good at bats all year as a pinch hitter. The only bad one he had really was when I put him in the other day when he had a chance to win the game with a runner on third base and less than 2 outs. And he took 2 strikes and then swung through a fastball. And I talked to him the next day about it. And I said, Hayden, every at bat you've had as a pinch hitter this year, you went up there ready to hit. And for some reason yesterday, you were very selective, and that's not you. You got to go up there ready to hit. Now, if I put you in today, I want you to be ready to hit right away. And that was the day when he hit the home run that tied the game. And, he's an intimidating force up there. I mean, he's a big guy and he takes a good swing. He's got a good swing. And when he hits the ball, he hits it harder than anybody. So, I didn't know if he was going to hit he's like, you can't hit a home run every day or every at bat, but certainly it was I had dreams and visions that he might, hit a 3-run homer, and sure enough, he did.
Yeah, Paul, going to the SEC play, what's kind of hanging out there for you that you're kind of concerned about? And I guess in the last 2 weeks, what's kind of cleared up is kind of gave you some relief.
Well, I was glad to see Cade Doty make that play in the 9th inning on the leadoff batter, to help Garrett Edwards. Their top of the order, Southeastern's top of the order is really good. Keller had a big night tonight. He had 3 hits, and then he hit that ball hard leading off the 9th inning. And Cade had made an error earlier in the game, and this one he fielded flawlessly and threw a strike over to first base. So I had talked before the season my concerns about the left side of the infield. But I think Jordan Thompson has solidified shortstop for us. I'm not nearly as concerned about shortstop as I was before. And, he's our shortstop, and I think he's doing a really terrific job. And I think Cade will do a good job at third base, but he just hasn't played third base in a while. So, he's still kind of getting used to the reactions and the instincts over there. So I wouldn't say I'm concerned about it, but the more reps that he gets, I think the better he'll get. Obviously, I wasn't too happy about the throw that Zach Arnold made there in the 9th inning. Fortunately, the call was overturned, but that's a simple throw that needs to be made. So, you're a little bit concerned about your defense and especially in the infield, and you want to make sure that you make the plays behind your pitchers. Our pitchers are going to need all the help they can get, especially, these young kids. They're not necessarily strikeout pitchers. Floyd may be the exception to that, but Garrett Edwards, he's a poised kid. I'm sure you followed his basketball career run, and you can envision that kid standing at the free throw line having to make both ends of a one-on-one to go into overtime, and he just pounds that strike zone with great poise. But he's not overpowering, and he's going to make him hit the ball, and you got to make the plays for him. And he's going to do what he can do, but you got to help him. So we got to play good defense in the infield. I think whether we play Sanford or Drost in center field, offensively it's good, but we don't have a lot of range defensively out there. Giovanni gives us the best range, but I'm a little bit concerned about offensively what he'll do, having been out for a month, and he hasn't faced a live pitcher, since he got hurt. So I guess those would be the concerns a little bit.
Hey, Coach, I guess I'll end you off on a quick one. But obviously with Hayden, what he gives you guys at the plate, I mean, just what are the options in terms of revving him up on behind the plate and being able to catch more? Do you expect him to be able to go longer in outings pretty soon, or do you think he's going to be restricted?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how he feels tomorrow, the day after. Corey Couture, our trainer, has really done a tremendous job with him through the rehab process. And, we really monitored how many throws he made today. As I mentioned to you, instead of taking pregame infield, outfield, he was in the training room doing exercises, and then he warmed up properly right before the game, and even in between innings, he just kind of lobbed the ball down to second. So he saved all his throws for in the game, and I'll see how he feels tomorrow. And obviously, I told you he's a tremendous player, and he's a tremendous force offensively, and he's a good catcher as well. And he did a good job tonight. So it's something we'll look at and figure out what the best way is. But obviously, I'm very motivated to get him into the lineup, get as many at bats as I can for him. I think he'll impact our team in a big way.
Going back to Giovanni for a second, Paul, what led to him making his return tonight?
Well, I just listened to the medical people, Jared. He was 80% on Sunday, so he wasn't cleared. And yesterday they brought him in and had him sprint, and he could sprint without any restrictions at all. So they gave him the green light, so he was available tonight. So I just wanted to get him out there and play a couple innings. I wasn't going to let him hit. Brody Drost was going to hit had the lineup turned over, and then I would have put Bianco into center field for him. Hopefully the weather will be okay tomorrow, and we can have some pitchers pitch against him and get him some live at bats. He's, like I said, he hasn't faced live pitching in a month, so I'm not sure what we'll do there yet. I've got a lot of confidence in Mitchell Sanford and Brody Drost, and Drew Bianco's a really good outfielder as well. So, there's no rush in getting Gio back in there. And, we've been winning with these other guys, and they've been doing a great job too. So, we'll figure it all out and, go with the best combination to help us win.
All right, that's all for Coach. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. See y'all.
All right, y'all can start with questions for Cade.
Hey, David from Rivals, just talk about what Friday's going to bring, man. You didn't get to have SEC play last year. It'll be your first SEC game, along with all these young players. Are you excited, or is it just it's just the next game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to facing the SEC. Obviously, I didn't get that chance last year, like the whole team, but I think we're just going to take it one game at a time. Obviously, it's going to be a little different, facing Mississippi State on a Friday night, but I think we're going to stay composed and, just really focus on that pitch, winning the innings. So
people talk about being in the zone, and the baseball looks as big as a basketball sometimes, those kind of things. Is that kind of like what you're seeing at the plate right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the ball really well. I'm really not chasing pitches right now, and I'm able to recognize the off speed pretty early. So I think just, I just feel really comfortable in the box right now.
Cade, have you ever, you're obviously a really successful high school player. Have you ever had a run like this with 5 home runs in 4 games?
I cannot say I have done stuff like this in my career up to now. So, hopefully I can just keep it rolling and keep contributing to help the team.
Cade, how much did your time away, give you a perspective or a look that maybe you're benefiting from now?
Yeah, it was kind of rough going from, playing every day to sitting out a couple games, but I think it made me realize, step back and, enjoy the moment and really don't take any game for granted.
You didn't see anything differently that, helped you like you're hitting right now though, huh?
No, sir.
Okay. Baseball's a game, obviously it's such a, day to day, you got to stay focused on that pitch, that at bat. You can't look too far ahead or really look back and stay so even keel, but are you allowed yourself to enjoy this run that you're on at all?
Yeah, I guess after the game, I can kind of, take a deep breath and think about, the at bats I had and, some things I should have done better, but I'm definitely appreciating, what I'm doing right now. But I'm not satisfied one bit. So I'm just going to try to keep it rolling.
How would you describe Hayden Travinski as a hitter? And, we haven't really gotten to see it until recently, but obviously he's got quite a lot of power. How would you describe him?
If if you just watch his BP, you know, he's got some special talents with his swing. I mean, he's always competitive. Obviously, he's been a great pinch hitter for us. And today he got to start at catcher, and he really proved that, you know, he can hit these pitches. And, you know, obviously you saw what he's capable of doing. And I'm really confident that he can, you know, continue to do that throughout the year.
What do you think? You know, you had a limited look at well, you didn't get to see SEC pitching last year. What are your thoughts with Mississippi State coming to town and kind of the competition you've faced so far preparing you for this moment?
Yeah, I mean, we're all excited. Obviously, Friday night playing Mississippi State's going to be, you know, different for me, but we're just really excited, and we're just going to take it, you know, day by day and inning by inning.
All right. Any more questions for Cade? One last one.
I've got one real quick if I could. AJ said the other day that the relief pitcher seemed a little bit frustrated after the way that weekend went. Did you see tonight, you know, being much better? Did you see them like post game, maybe feeling a little bit more confident, a little bit more relieved?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, obviously this weekend they didn't, you know, due to their capabilities, but I mean, I don't think anybody was really down on themselves. I mean, we know how to get the job done, and they know what they need to do. So, I mean, I don't think there's much of a difference because, you know, they're all great players and they know what they need to do. So I wouldn't say there's a big difference. Obviously they did great tonight, but we expect that. And I know some games it might not go the way we planned, but hopefully the bats can pick them up and they can pick us up at some times.
All right. Thank y'all. All right, y'all can start with questions for Hayden.
Hayden, how good did it just feel to be back out there, man, and catching and doing what you do?
It's pretty unexplainable. I mean, not being able to really get into catching throughout the start of last year, and then with some injuries and stuff, I was really antsy throughout the entire day today. I just knew that I was like, yeah, this is my first collegiate start behind the dish. So it was fun to get out there and showcase what I can do a little bit.
Where are you percent wise? Do you feel like I can let it rip, you know, when I need to throw in behind the plate? Like, what would you say you're 100% or close?
Yeah, I mean, my arm feels really good. I think at this point it's just kind of building it up and getting the reps back because, I mean, I've missed a little bit of time. But yeah, I mean, it's feeling really, really good.
My last question, how patient do you have to be and how frustrating is it where I can't maybe go all out because you don't want to rush it and you want to try to take your time?
Oh, definitely. I mean, throughout the entire season, it's just been patience is definitely a virtue to have, especially in this sport. You're going to go through tough times, injuries and all that. And with as many injuries as I've been through, it's been more of a learning moment in terms of doing the right things leading up in preparation and then doing stuff in post, taking care of your body. And so I think I rambled a little bit there. I got a little bit off track, but yeah.
Hey Hayden, this is Glenn West with LSU Country. Nice to meet you, man. Just kind of talk about, you know, obviously you get the start tonight, but where do you go from here? I mean, I know Coach Maneri's just telling us, you know, you're going to wait to see how you feel tomorrow. But do you feel like you can go 9 innings in a game? Because obviously you mean a lot to this rotation right now in terms of what you're doing with the bats. There's just really not a whole lot of other outside sources for you to get those at bats if you're not behind the plate.
Yeah, I mean, even right now, I don't have any issues with it. So I think, again, it's just kind of building it up. I can definitely go a 9 if needed. I mean, we'll get to that point, definitely. But my body's feeling good, arm's feeling good, and definitely just got to keep building on it.
Aiden, when did the arm injury happen?
I think it was over break back home. We had thought it was some tendonitis at one point. But it had been a month into that and it hadn't gone away. So we got some imaging done. And I want to say it was a few scrimmages before we got going. So it was definitely a hard blow to deal with. But like I said, I think patience is very important. It's a life skill to be learned. So just applying that and not getting frustrated with not being out there.
When you say a few scrimmages, were you talking about like fall or this preseason back in January?
Spring. Yeah, spring.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Good. All right. I mean, how difficult has it been? Just kind of how flexible it is with the at bats. I mean, you'll come in and pinch hit one game and maybe not see it for another game or two. I mean, just how difficult has that been to only maybe get one at bat every once in a while, as opposed to being consistently in the rotation and getting those at bats every day.
I think it's it's one of the hardest. You're doing one of the hardest things to do in sports while sitting there for potentially 4 hours. So it's definitely difficult. I was sort of in the same role time to time last year in between some DH starts. So I think I had a little bit better insight on what I needed to do, the mindset I needed to have. And throughout the season this year, I feel like I've put together a good string of at bats that have really carried over. So
you mentioned that mindset. I mean, does that change at all? I mean, just talk about the mindset, I guess getting that one at bat a game as opposed to maybe getting 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of times it's definitely in late game situations. So depending on, you can't just come off the bench and not swing. You know what I mean? There's got to be some aggression behind it. And I think that's definitely carried on to an at bat to at bat mentality. I mean, even if I'm getting 4 at bats, it's forget about the last one and move on to the next one. I think that's been one of the biggest learning points from the pinch hitting situation, at least.
And just real quick, Hayden, when did you actually find out you were going to start at catcher today?
Yesterday. Yeah, so I've been antsy since last night, but it's good to get it out of the way.
Any trouble sleeping or anything, or were you able to at least handle that?
Nah, that was fine. That was no big deal, but
thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, y'all can start with questions for Ty.
Hey, Ty, this is our first chance to get to speak with you. So I'm Wilson from The Advocate. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
What can you, for starters, can you take us through that situation in the 7th? That was kind of the last time Southeastern had a chance to maybe tie the game, and you got those 2 big strikeouts. What was kind of going through your mind when they get runners in scoring position there with 1 out?
I think the biggest thing is just to finish the inning with that's the biggest thing AD says. He says if you give up 1, make sure you don't give up 2. And he just emphasis of keeping the runs limited, try not to let the next run score. That's the biggest thing for us. And that was the biggest thing tonight, how I'm glad I was able to get that last guy out because it was a close game. It was getting close.
You don't seem to show too much emotion when you pitch and have a big, out like that. But so what was going through kind of your head, when he swings through it?
I mean, yeah, I've never been the guy that shows a lot of emotion. I was definitely inside. I was definitely glad. I was like, okay, good. You didn't allow another run to score. That's good. But no, I was excited for it. I was really glad. I know a lot of people say that I'm not a very emotional guy on the bump, but inside I am.
And then what was it like for y'all as a bullpen after you do that? Devin pitches a clean 8th. Garrett pitches a clean 9th. Was it a sort of maybe a confidence building sort of game going into SEC play to have that after what happened this past weekend?
Oh yeah, that was a huge part of that was a great thing tonight because I know last weekend, especially, I know we won them last 2 games, but those games shouldn't have been like that. We should have stuck what AD says, stick it in their throat. Apparently, stick the cleat down. But tonight was a good day. I mean, I think definitely helped boost our confidence going into this weekend against Mississippi State.
What was the mood amongst y'all as a bullpen after that game Sunday, after it kind of happened, a couple days in a row?
It was definitely, of course we were all happy. We ended up winning, but we all knew that should not have happened. That we had to be better than that because when SEC play, that doesn't play. Teams are too good a lot of teams are able to finish us off by then.
Did y'all do anything different over the last 2 days or kind of stick with your same routine?
I think we had a different mental approach to it. I think because after our win Sunday, Coach AD talked to all of us and was speaking to us and telling us that we had to be better as a team. We shouldn't be walking this many people. We shouldn't be getting this behind in counts, that we have to do better as a staff if we want to be able to succeed in SEC play. So I think today, while we had more focus in the bullpen, I think we were able to stay maintained and focused on It's throwing strikes and getting the batter out. And if you do allow a runner to get on, don't allow him to score. That was the biggest focus on this today, especially.
Any more questions for Ty? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ty.
Wilson was running that show. Good job, Dub. Yeah.
Wilson was the only one who asked for him.
And he delivered. Good job, Will.